After we got our outfits, we went to Ben & Jerry's on 42nd Street for some ice cream, then brunch. Around 4 o'clock, we hopped in a cab and headed uptown. She went to her mother's house to say hello and get changed. I went to the school to get all the last-minute details worked out for the party. Chapter 14. St. Jean, St. Catherine, Spelman, everybody gonna be here, son. It was an hour before the doors were set to open, and I was looking out of the school library on 124th Street at the already large crowd. My homeboy Joey was reassuring me that our promotional efforts were going to pay off. Son, that's enough chicks right there. Just let them in, I'll be good, he said. Rice High School parties were an event for teenage girls uptown. Rice was legendary for housing some of the city's best basketball players and best-dressed guys. A lot of them were dope boys' kids. So getting our sister's school and their public school girls to show up wasn't the most arduous task. Nevertheless, this was the first party of our senior year, and we wanted to set it off all the way right. We promoted the party passionately. By the time 8 o'clock rolled around, we had a potential fire hazard on our hands and a growing number of ladies online that we physically had no room for. Joe, can you get my girls situated? I'm about to go try to get them to quiet down so we can start letting them in, I asked Joey before heading outside. The faculty advised us that we could begin letting people in as soon as they settled down and lined up. It was past 8:30 and the crowd was beginning to grow impatient. The commotion yielded the attention of the police who were inside working things out with the faculty as to how many people we could actually let in. Yo, y'all gotta chill so we can line y'all up and do this. I employed my most stern voice with no success. Everyone was concerned with being skipped, and consequently no one would line up. I was walking parallel to the impatient mob of adolescent girls when I was stopped by one of the females that I apparently convinced to come. I overheard her say to one of her friends, "That's him," as I walked by. Yo, what's up with the door? She asked me. If y'all line up and chill out, we can start letting y'all in, but nobody want to listen, so... Well, we're lined up right here. Can we go in? She was with a group of at least 4 other girls, from what I could make out. Her proposal was the only thing that made sense for the night thus far. I quickly considered and went with it. All right, let me go see what's good at the door. If y'all stay lined up, when I come back, y'all be the first ones in. I went back inside to run the idea past one of the faculty members, and he gave me the green light. When I got back outside, I saw Joey talking to some girls at the front of the line. I tapped him on the shoulder as I scampered past him. Come with me real quick. Joe grabbed his jeans at the crotch to prevent them from falling down as he hustled his way to catch up. I knew he was finally behind me when the distinct sound of his heavy gold pendant had no longer swung violently around his chain. I turned. I got some chicks back there to line up. Mr. Romero said we could start bringing them in. When I got back to the group of girls that I had made my pact with, I noticed they had grown slightly in numbers. All right, y'all 7 come with me. I turned to escort the ladies to the front of the line. Where they going? Oh, so 'cause you know them, they get to go in first? I kept walking. I obviously tried to talk to them already, which is the only reason I got behind them to reason with the other girls. After a few more steps, I glanced over my shoulder to make sure I didn't lose my group of 7. Whoa, where the hell y'all going? I said. My group had grown exponentially. Some of them had been waiting over an hour and weren't having it. My question yielded numerous heated responses. Not wanting to escalate the situation, I turned and walked towards the front of the line without saying another word. By the time I got to the door, there were about 30 girls now following me, and about 50 sprawled about the front of the school entrance. Another group started to push their way through the entrance, and a rush broke out. 10, maybe 20 got in before we regained control. The police got involved at that point. I was posted against one of the shut entrance doors, thinking that Angela and I could cut our losses short and hop back on the train to Long Island when Joey came up to me. Yo, Lynn, Gold wanted to see us. I was exhausted and stressed enough. Now I had to deal with my tyrannical principal. I skipped up the front steps and followed Joey through the coat check station in the school library, where Mr. Goebel was waiting. What happened out there, Lenny? The late Orlando Goebel was a proud black man of a large stature who spoke with his chin up and chest out. When he spoke, he did so with tremendous authority. What you mean what happened? I shot back. I didn't like his tone, and apparently he didn't care for much of mine either. What do you mean, what do I mean? I want to know why people are telling me there was a bum rush at the front door. Yeah, there was a bum rush. I asked Mr. Romero if it was okay for me to bring some girls from the back of the line. He interjected with a fiery pitch. And they bum rushed the door? No, they didn't bum rush the door. If you let me answer your question, I'll tell you what happened. And the tone resembling a grumble. That's enough, Lenny. Don't say anything else. He turned to Joey in an attempt to further dismiss me. This is a complete mess. I should have never left you two in charge of this. Unable to resist. Yo, Mr. Romero said it was okay. Why are you trying to look at us like it's all our fault? He fired back at me. Shut up, Lenny. If this nigga tell me to shut up one more time, I thought. My adrenaline shot up. No, you're just trying to yell for the sake of yelling. You don't even know what happened, I said. Get out. Mr. Goebel was fed up, and so was I. The night had gotten stressful enough, and I knew that if I had stayed the duration of the party, the trip back to Port Jefferson would take us at least 4 hours. I was relieved to be leaving at this point. I turned promptly to walk out when it dawned on me that I had to plead with this man just a few weeks ago to be allowed back to the school. Unsure if he intended on me to leave for the night or if I was being kicked out of school. Yo, you want me to leave for the night or... Mr. Goebel made a dismissive gesture with his hands which fired my temper through the roof. Fuck you then, motherfucker. Fuck you in this fucking school. I was looking him in his eyes and something that told me that he thought that I was joking or just acting out. And I wasn't. The principal-student relationship was out of the window. And if it was going out, I was going out swinging. Joey, along with several other class members who overheard the yelling and closed me with their bodies, shielding me away from making a bigger mistake, they pushed me out of the library and into a corner on the other side of the hallway. Yo, chill, son. Chill, Al. Your girl is in there waiting for you. Just get your things and go ahead. I remember listening to Rashid thinking he did have a point. But the feeling that Mr. Goebel thought that I might have been playing was more prevalent. Feigning self-control, I got the fellas to back off. I'm good, yo. I'm good. Don't worry about it. I'm straight. You sure, my dude? Yeah, I'm good. All right, I'm going to go get Ants. Just stay right here. Rashid lowered his hands from my chest and turned away. In an instant, I ran past him, jumped over the table where some classmates were checking in coats, and darted back into the library. I cocked my right fist and shot it into the side of Mr. Goebel's head. Upon impact, we both fell backwards. A gang of my peers had been running after me, finally caught me as I shifted my sense of gravity to strike again. I was rammed into a wooden desk and Darren put me in a bear hug and forced me out of the room. He kept my arm secure until I was out of the building. Angela was waiting for me outside, obviously informed of the situation from earlier. Darren and Joey walked me across the street where a small crowd gathered around me. What's wrong, young man? What happened? An older black woman concerned as to why I was so visibly distraught asked from the crowd. Beside myself and overwhelmed with ambivalent emotion, I just fucked up my life. That's what happened. I fell to my knees. As much work as I put into that school, I just fucking blew it, I said. I couldn't take my eyes off the building. I was sitting on the Lenox Avenue gravel with my arms lying limp across each respective knee. I dropped my head and continued crying. The concerned woman pressed on. It'll be okay, young man. Don't worry about it. God will see you through. I had always been the type to act, then think later. When I looked at the building in which I had done so much growing, where I had put so much effort into progressing my life, that's when I began to think. On the ground in the slum of weakness, Angela grabbed a handful of my sweater and forced me to my feet. You're too strong for that. Get up, she demanded. You're too strong for that. For that, she will always be my dearest friend. Her words and actions were essential. At that very moment, I felt weaker than ever. And Angela was telling me that despite the mistakes, despite the rage and foolishness, I couldn't let Leonard Smith stay on the ground. My dearest friend. But I do believe that night that I killed us. Angela bent over backwards to see that my Sunday was a day of rest. Several people left voice messages on her phone for me. Among those people was Mr. Goebel. knowing that I was still uneasy and subject to say just about anything to anyone. Angela wrote the messages down and told everyone that I'd get back to them. I mostly watched football while she studied. Under normal circumstances, I would have had to leave early enough to get settled in at home and begin getting ready for the upcoming week. However, for the umpteenth time in the past 3 years, the normalcy in my life had once again changed. Besides the fact that an incident like this may have been the last straw one way or another, my grandmother thought the world about my former principal. There was nothing I could say that would smooth this over with her. How I was going to finish high school was the more prevalent question. So many issues to consider, so much on the line. I watched every televised football game, the pre-game shows, post-game coverage, even a late game on the sports network before falling asleep. The next day I was wakened by a loud thud of textbooks hitting the desk. Angela was unlatching a strap on her leather jacket. I caught eyes with her as she was redirecting her focal point away from my dormant body. I knew that she was looking at me while I was asleep, and something about that unnerved me. "I thought you were going home," she said. I turned to get a readout on the digital clock on the nightstand. 12:41 p.m. "I am," I finally replied. She hung her coat and grabbed her bathroom bucket. "My roommate will be here soon," she said before exiting the room. By the way she was acting, I promptly concluded that my credibility with my fiancé was gone and that I had wore out my welcome as Smith Brown. I picked the room phone up and dialed the last phone number on the list of messages. I felt extremely anxious knowing that the next voice that I would hear was going to be Mr. Gober's. "Okay, here's the situation, Lenny. There's nothing I can do to get you back in school. If the other administrators weren't there might have been some type of spin we could have put on it, but that's obviously not the case. Okay? All right. If you need something, call me. I'll see what I can do." "All right, thanks," I said. I knew that I would have to leave my grandmother's home for the last time. Our agreement was that I would stay there until it was time for me to leave college, but things had obviously changed. I just wanted to get all my things to get out of the house without causing too much of a scene. I wasn't scared, and that was the only thing that had held me together. I'd been here before, and by this time, I was better prepared. I had 2 different sources of income, and I promised myself that I'd milk the hell out of them before I'd ask anyone for anything. "Where the hell have you been?" Nana was so upset that she was on the verge of tears. I fired my words at her, instantly blowing the situation out of proportion. "I was with Angela. Relax." No way. No way I'm gonna have you talking to me like that in my damn house. "I'm leaving anyway. Relax." "Oh, okay, good. Go and hit your damn principal. You better change up your ways." I was walking back and forth gathering my belongings. I hated the fact that it came to this with me and my grandmother, with me and everyone. I was just a kid of a different breed. The therapy, basketball camps, after-school programs, even the 3 months in juvie couldn't change what I lived through and my disposition. Before child welfare came to get me from my mother, I missed 87 days of school in the 2nd grade. I was damn near starving and taking care of my newborn sister and motherless. I had to fight. I had to be ready and able to fight. So I became a warrior, and this is a warrior's path. Chapter 15. It's not everybody else, kid. Ain't everyone else fucking up. You gotta take the blame for some of this shit. That's how it goes as a young man. Y'all asses need to start owning up for some of this shit. When you're grown, all of it is on your shoulders. No excuse. It is what it is. Yeah, you right, Uncle E. Angela helped me rent a basement apartment off of Boston Road in the Bronx. We put it under her name and told the owner that we were students who were just going to use the space for storage. So I had to be careful not to be seen in there too much, and getting caught sleeping in there was a no-no. I was awoke, barely, somewhere between deep thought and light slumber, reflecting on some of Uncle E's last words to me. Although my mattress was a tandem of cardboard boxes on an egg crate, I felt like a rich man. I had enough coming in from Tammy and other moves that I made that I didn't have to go out there and chase money. I could just sell to people I knew and maintain, and I didn't have to be sitting in some classroom or job all day. I could see the window behind the pipes or the radiator. I presumed it was going to be a bright, warm November day. My watch dial didn't have any numbers on it by design. only a large gold-plated dot where the 12 would be, and sweeping hands. A perfect 90-degree angle, or backwards L spelled out 9 a.m. I got up and got myself ready for the world. I slid the switch on my radio from tape deck to disc and popped my toothbrush in my mouth. The entire month of October and November had passed me by, and opposed to a certain number of school assignments completed or hours worked, the only measure that mattered to me came in the fact that I was surviving. My window of opportunity was closing regarding college. I decided that I was going to use this day and do something about that. I knew the music was about to run out on the Reasonable Doubt album I was playing. I was listening to the last track. In order to survive, gotta learn to live with regrets. On a rise to the top, many drop, don't forget. Opening the basement door and not being bombarded with bone-chilling temperature made me feel like God was doing me a personal favor. I walked to the library and got some work done regarding finding another high school and sending out college applications. I allocated 2 hours for each task. I knew that I was going to have a hard time explaining why I was transferring schools in the middle of my senior year. So I skimmed over a few chapters in the interview skills booklet and researched some GED programs as well. I left over a dozen phone messages and filled out 4 college applications before leaving the library and heading to Harlem. Yo, let me get a turkey and egg and cheese on a roll with lettuce and tomatoes and put some oil and vinegar on that bitch too. I was at the corner on 110th Street and Lexington Avenue when my phone went off. Incoming call from David. It was Tammy. I saved her number on a different name as Angela didn't see any reason for me and my ex to be conversing so much. What's up, Tam? I got robbed, L. Fuck you mean you got robbed? These boys ran up here this morning and took everything except for like $100. Tammy hooked up with my boys from the Lower East Side a few months ago. They were paying her bills and keeping her in the Lewis sneakers in exchange to push pills out of her apartment near campus. That arrangement fell for one reason or another. I never investigated as I was busy dealing with my own life. My man Darren told me that he thought that Tammy might have been popping pills. Either way, I knew that the story I was getting on the phone wasn't straight up and it was going to cost me about half my livelihood. Yo, I'm going to get a ride out there. Don't go nowhere, I said. Chapter 16. I tried to give Angela as much space as possible. 3 is definitely a crowd in a double occupancy dorm room, and we hadn't been seeing eye to eye anyway. After the Tammy thing fell through, I was back out on the street. I tried to make it to Maurice's house once or twice a week, or Kareem's garage to sleep. Circumstances seemed to have me sleeping on a train more often than anywhere else. The worst part about sleeping on the train is, by the time you get comfortable enough to actually fall asleep, it was time to transfer, either because the train was about to go above ground, which meant less heat, or it was the last stop. Some good news did come. I convinced the vice president of Manhattan Center High School to allow me to finish there. Bad news was my instability made it hard for me to live up to my end of the deal. I tried to stabilize by staying at Angela's more, but by the time I got to her dorm, it was usually after 1 a.m. According to the plan that I wrote up for myself, I was supposed to be doing my homework and studying on a train each way. The idea was a complete failure. I couldn't get to sleep before 2 a.m. I had to be up at 6 to catch the train to Penn Station. The books that I was supposed to be reading were supporting my sleepy head. I kept it up for about 3 weeks before completely hitting the wall. Mentally exhausted with the grind, I decided that I was going to settle for a GED. I arrived at school about 2 hours late on my last day at Manhattan Center. Walking through the corridors on the south wing, I stopped to observe the contents of the trophy display enclosed in glass in the lobby. I couldn't help but miss the more familiar display filled with citywide basketball championships at Rice. I reminisced for a second and kept it moving. Mr. Barretto. The office was the last in a subsection of office space at the end of the south wing. I didn't know Mr. Barretto from a hole in the wall, and I didn't feel like wasting any time with small talk. Hey, sir, I need to get in a GED program. Mr. Barretto was a senior guidance counselor. I remember feeling like I was going to have to spit out some long, exaggerated story to elaborate, but that wasn't necessary. Okay, who's your homeroom teacher? I bring the information to them. He seemed to be on hold for a phone call, with the office phone receiver resting idly between his shoulders and ear. Miss Sterons, I said. Okay, I have the information there by tomorrow. Placing the phone back on the base. What, you have to work or something? He asked. The Lord does indeed work in mysterious ways, but more often, his work is plain for all to see. During the entire ride to the city that morning, I was planning some sort of alibi. I don't know. The lies come more natural than the truth sometimes. I knew that I couldn't take no for an answer, and I was thinking that there would have to be some sort of law against quitting. Yeah, I gotta work all night. I'm not really staying at home, and I'm coming from Long Island most of the time, I informed him. Whoa, that's rough, Mr. Barretto said. Yeah, so I'm all set? I asked, ready to make moves. Yeah, I'll get Miss Sterons the information tomorrow. I just need to get you signed up and you'll be all set. All right, thank you, I said. I turned to leave the office, wishing there was more I could do for myself. Although my grandmother and I did have our fair share of headbutting, she was looking forward to the day that she could say that at least one of us got an actual high school diploma. I made many strides academically since I began going to Catholic school. When I passed the midpoint at the end of my sophomore year, there wasn't any reason to believe that I wouldn't be hanging that diploma in the living room. Hey, Leonard, if I can get you in a program that would allow you to finish your regular diploma at night, would you be interested? I turned around feeling like God had finally answered a prayer instantly. Yeah, that could work, I said, not suppressing my zeal at all. I just remembered with this YABC program, you only have to take the classes that you need to graduate, not a full curriculum. And there's no classes on Friday either, Mr. Barretto said. Yeah, that's cool. What do I have to do? I asked. He tossed around some papers on his chaotic desk, searching for something to give me. Okay, you're going to have to go there tomorrow and fill out some paperwork that will allow you to start on Monday. I never saw Mr. Barretto again, although I never forgot his very last instructions to me. Seeing my gratefulness, he understood that he had just gave me a break, and I was going to optimize this opportunity. Kick ass, Leonard, was the last thing he said to me. Kick ass indeed. As a younger man, I usually got situated via an after-school fight or something along those narrow lines. But with the finish line so close, the only fighting that I was going to be doing was with the books. I immediately distinguished myself from the other YABC students by being patient, articulate, and polite with the staff, as my beef wasn't with them. Within 2 weeks, I was offered a job as an assistant to the junior high school administrator who worked out of the same building as the YABC program. I was intent on surpassing what I saw as my preset limit for myself, one of coming up short. Just like Coach Roberts used to always say, when you're passing someone, you pass them hard, and you finish the race strong. Don't leave nothing on the track. I took the job offer as a sign from God to fall back on hustling. I had a super going out of business sale. I made a few phone calls and sold everything that I'd been stacking since the summer in 24 hours. Since I didn't need to re-up, all the money was mine. The first thing that I did was call Miss Bowery, the woman whose basement I had been renting a couple of months ago. I explained my true situation to her. We came to agreement that I could stay for as long as I needed for $500 up front and $300 a month. I bought Tupac's All Eyes on Me double disc for the third time, En Vogue's Funky Divas, TLC Crazy Sexy Cool, Voice of Jamaica, Precious, and a bunch of Clue tapes. I bought a flat bench with 280 pounds of weight, a two-way pager, 4 pair of Levi's, and a boatload of banana pudding. You got your weight set, huh? Miss Bowery asked rhetorically as she scampered around my setup. Yes, ma'am. Exercising gives me something to do with all my energy, I said. The best part about staying at Miss Bowery's was she didn't bother me much. The only time she came downstairs was to wash her clothes or see if the temperature in the house was pleasant. She had just finished loading the contents from her dryer into a pink laundry basket. Well, how's school going? It's going good. I found out that I got accepted into college today. Oh, bless your heart, bless your heart. So where you going? Upstate with your girlfriend? No, I'm actually going to Buffalo, I said. Buffalo? What's in Buffalo? I received an acceptance letter from 4 schools prior to the one coming from the University of Buffalo. Among the four was Smithbrook University, Angela's school, but I decided to gracefully bow out of our arrangements. The few nights that I stayed with her produced ugly and seemingly never-ending arguments. I can't tell you why we were arguing. It was usually trivial, but we were growing apart. Angela was now pre-med, going all out for school, and she had a new core group of friends. When I received my acceptance letter to SBU, it went in my back pocket and unmentioned to Angela. I was going to Buffalo. UB is a New York State institution, which equated to a lower tuition rate. UB is the biggest school in the state university system, centralized in Amherst, New York, opposed to the city of Buffalo. The campus was just far enough for me to leave everything that I wanted behind, but close enough that I could travel to and from NYC whenever I chose to. I was going to have the total cost of attendance covered for my first 2 years with financial aid and scholarships. All I had to do was work a measly 20 hours per week at the junior high school and pass 3 classes, and I was out of here. The day that I got my acceptance letter from my grandmother's house, I went to the barber shop on Linden Avenue and cut off my near shoulder-length hair, the visual reminder that I kept from last summer and the times that I had to sleep on the train and staircases. Chapter 17. Senior pictures, financial aid forms, cap and gown, ordering time rolled around. I stayed at my grandmother's the weeks leading up to graduation, as I had severely sprained my ankle playing basketball at a family cookout. I was on crutches for the remainder of my pre-collegiate life. Consequently, I resigned from my job at the junior high school since I was leaving in a few weeks. Being on my back for all those weeks gave me a chance to develop better study habits and sharpen my personal vision. By June, I had received notice from YABC administrators that I would be honored as the class of 2000's valedictorian, and I had begun counting down the days before I was hitting the thruway to Buffalo. Kareem was staying in the city for college and making a name for himself across the city. Maurice was doing his music thing, and many of my childhood friends were either going away to college, like me, or going somewhere down south to control a new drug market. A new century was upon us, and we were spreading our wings. At graduation, I kept the speech that I had been working on until 4 a.m. in my pocket. I spoke to the audience from my heart. I reminded them that everyone had their own particular struggles and that this life shit is crazy hard, ups and downs, but quitting is for quitters. So hang in there. Chapter 18. We did it, baby. We fucking did it. My closest friends and I were high school graduates and damn proud of it. Kareem was throwing a graduation party at his aunt's in the South Bronx. I had been watching him and his cousins set up for the party all morning, trying to assist to the best of my ability from my crutches. Excited and weaving recklessly through the Bruckner Expressway traffic, Kareem shouted over the stereo, "This shit is over, Lenny." It's more than just graduating from high school. When you're 17, 18 years old, it's a matter of conquering everything that's before you. We were moving on from being stuck in the 5 boroughs. It felt like we were finally passing go and collecting $200. Now the game was on us. Yeah, bro, we did what we had to do. I was reclined in the passenger seat with my foot bolstered on one of my wooden crutches. I can't wait to be out. Through his chuckling, "You sound like you're going to be happy to leave Ange, too. Speaking of which, that girl Toy is going to be there tonight, too." Yeah, me and Ange need some space right now. That's still my heart, though. You know, I got to fall back a little, though. Kareem opened the sunroof as we exited the expressway onto Story Avenue. "I don't know, my dude. Why you want to leave your shorty out there like that? You don't think it'll be better if y'all just stay together and work it out?" After a brief moment of silence, "What time you think Toya gonna be there tonight?" I asked. 4 hours later. "Toya, this my man L. He's the one that's going to Buffalo in a couple of weeks." The party turned out to be a success. Kareem was trying to raise enough money to pay for his student fees. He was going to John Jay College next fall as a liberal arts major. "Hi, nice to meet you. What happened to your leg?" Toya asked me. "Oh, man, this building was burning. I ran through there and saved a bunch of people and shit." Looking into my eyes with a facetious amusement. So you got your superhero on." "Yeah, something like that," I joked. Reggae artist Bounty Killer and Elephant Man were blasting from the stereo system. We were drinking and smoking blunts. Well, Superman, do you need someone to sit and keep you company? Before I could answer, Kareem interjected. Yeah, because I'm actually about to make moves, so y'all could chit-chat. Els, I'll be back. I knew this wasn't the best idea since I still had a fiance who was on her way with her girls from Fordham Road. Toya stepped around my outstretched leg, which was covered in an air cast, and took a seat beside me. You used to run track, right? I used to. Oh, that's where I know you from? You used to run for Spelman, right? No, I don't run myself, but I seen you at the Armory a few times. I was beginning to feel like a free teenager once again. Emerged into a smooth, free-flowing conversation when Angela appeared from behind me. Hello? She was looking into my face as if there were more to her question. I sat there and played dumb, like it was okay for my engaged ass to be sitting there talking to someone else in the wake of all our relationship problems. What's up, I asked. Nothing. She waved me off and began walking away. She is upset, Toya said to me in not a low enough tone. What? Angela stopped in her tracks and demanded. What? She hunched over the side of Toya's plastic chair before I hopped on my good foot in their tracks. Yo, chill. You know what, Lenny? You could stay here with her since that's obviously what you want to do. Yo, mommy, you wildin' right now. Angela turned and walked abruptly away with her girls. Chapter 19. My grandmother threw me a graduation/going-away/birthday party before the day I left for school. Before I ripped up the pictures of that night, I used to look at one in particular of me and Angela. At the end of my thank you speech, I told my family that we were still getting married. Picture captures me extending an open arm to Angela to give her a half-ass hug after I said those words. We didn't even make eye contact. Things fall apart, and all the magic was gone. All of our threats of leaving, hanging up, and call back, all the stress, I was getting off the emotional roller coaster. I guess Angela figured we were both just talking shit because she threatened to leave me just as much as I did her. There was no particular straw. It was just a timing thing. Now I can afford to displace myself from the situation. That chapter was done. The campus is actually in Amherst, not Buffalo, sweetie. So I guess just follow the signs for that. Julia and I were a little under 2 hours away from Buffalo, speeding up the I-81 north towards Syracuse in a rental with all my belongings in it. I knew that I made a hard, messy bed, and in a little over 100 miles, I would have to lay in it. Julia and I had just switched seats as I wanted to get some sleep before my orientation in the morning. I just got to stay on the I-90 West, right? Julie asked. Yup. All right, I got it. You can go to sleep, she said as she turned the volume up on the stereo and took a swig from her coffee mug. I'm going to just try to get a few minutes in so I won't be falling over myself in the morning. I laid my head on my sweater against the passenger side window and closed my eyes. A crick in my neck broke my slumber. I knew I hadn't been asleep for long as the same album was blasting from the stereo. I came to just soon enough to get a glimpse of the green interstate highway sign. I-90 West, Rochester 60, Buffalo 130, Niagara Falls 145 miles. End of part 1.
Part 2. Chapter 20. Making it to college was somewhat surreal for me. Clear, undeniable proof that the biblical adage, ask and you shall receive, is credible. I was the first in my family to make it to college and proud of it. Nevertheless, the label seemed to be cliche in my new surroundings. Many of my peers had the pressure of initial family success on their shoulders. Julie and I went straight to the pep rally when we got to campus. The football team was out in their uniforms minus the pads, in all their splendor amongst the other freshmen. We grabbed a couple of beef hot dogs and skated off just as quietly as we came. When we got to my dorm, she carried my hat bag as I hauled the rest of my belongings to the top floor of Fargo Hall. Julie stayed around for a few minutes, then headed back as she had to get back to the city to get ready for school herself. Like most underclassmen, I hung out with the students in the union and residence halls who looked like me. My homeboy Rashid from Rice came to UB as well. When we were in the process of filling out our housing applications, Rashid gave me the heads up that I should live on the South Campus because that's where all the Black and minority students were. I took that info and signed my ass right up for the North Campus. I figured I'd make study and disciplining myself that much easier. I was assigned to a triple room suite, and my roommates didn't show up for the first 2 days of classes. When they moved in, my comfort and openness with diversity moved out. The two of them were upperclassmen who knew each other since high school and were both into things I considered strange: Metallica, rugby, and ecstasy. After spending a few days with them, I packed a few of my things and spent the night on South Campus. That one night turned into another, and eventually I moved in with my homeboy O.D., who lived in Goodyear Hall on the South Campus. O.D. lived in the double room, but his suite mate never showed up. I eventually set up an appointment to speak with the Res Life director, and she assigned me the room. As previously mentioned, UB is the biggest university in the state university system, with well over 30,000 students and 300 degree programs. The school is subdivided into two campuses. The North Campus is the primary site, housing most of the university's academic departments: campus housing, student union, basketball arena, and football stadium. The South Campus is smaller, more traditional in appearance. I was informed by a former school president at a guest lecture that the South was actually supposed to be the main campus. Due to the university's need to expand once they incorporated with the state, and the city of Buffalo's unwillingness to part with the golf course across the street from the campus, UB had eventually centralized in Amherst, New York. Students travel between campuses via the Bluebird shuttle, a 15-minute ride to either campus. My move to the South Campus turned out to be a good shift. I achieved my desired comfort as OD and I watched the same TV shows, listened to the same music, and he had just as much focus on academics as I was. While most of our peers was running around soaking up their first taste of freedom, we were usually sitting at our respective study desks, actually studying. I got a work-study job as a student assistant with the Department of Urban Planning, which I eventually chose as my major. I was in charge of making sure the HUD fellows' timesheets were correctly filled out and filed amongst the other miscellaneous office chores I had. One could say I hit the ground running. Thanks to the efforts and resources of EOP, I didn't need to spend time searching for my place to fit in. EOP helped the close to 200 of our classmates feel as close as we could to home at a university that was more resembling of a high-tech city than a college campus. I had already amassed a buddy list on my instant messenger of over 120 people. I met a chick from Buffalo who was with it, and I knew my way around campus. So I sat my ass down and studied. Friday nights, while everyone was jumping on the campus shuttle to go to some party, OD and I were in the books. And that time in had the strangest way of manifesting itself through my performance in the classroom. In order to maintain my work level, I allocated enough time to kick back and relax as well. That flip 49. My relaxation came in the form of exercise and digging into my music collection that I had been scrapping together since I was a kid. The balance and corresponding success that I found between classes, work, the gym, and hanging out put me in a position where I had to make a decision. I had to choose whether or not I was going to be one of those freshmen who obtained a degree or had a story as to why they didn't. I promised myself that if I finished my first semester with a 2.5 grade point average or better, I wouldn't turn back under any circumstances. I checked my grades over the winter break on the school website that morning. They became available, 3.3 with 15 credits complete. Chapter 21. Over the winter break, I got a tattoo of Angela's name on my left bicep. I didn't call her or go see her, but I tatted her name on my arm, like a nostalgic thing. I did my fair share of push-ups and pull-ups, and I headed back to campus with a few pounds of chronic. The one semester I completed in college had me feeling like an OG. I knew my way around campus, I had a crew, and I had a name. I needed the weed because I had a new level, and the standards were different. Many of the students around me had parents and families supporting them. Everything was on my shoulders alone. So I worked hard and hustled harder. Yo, shorty is bad. I never seen her before. She a little cutie, Rashid said from under the hood of his North Face bubble coat. I was looking deeper into the beauty who had just pranced by Rashid and I. Yeah, she is tough, I said. She was tough enough to hold my eye. I wanted a daughter for practically my whole life. I have 3 sisters and a grandmother who worked hard to instill some decency in me. So it's not in me to hawk over every girl in the streets fronting like she's 49 too. But I was genuinely attracted, and I wasn't gonna sit on my ass and let shorty pass me by. Yo, Rod, I'll be right back, my dude. We were sitting in the lobby of Goodyear Hall, and a fine, curvy, brown-skinned opportunity had just walked by. She appeared to be lost and had disappeared around the corner. I knew that there was only one thing in that direction, the resident hall area office, and it was closed. Excuse me, you need help finding something? I asked. No, I actually just found what I'm looking for, but they're closed. Her body language and tone were welcoming, seductive even. She continued talking, but some energy within me forced my words over hers. Yo, you're beautiful. She smiled from deep, holding nothing back. Thank you. By the way she was dressed in her dialect, I could tell she was from New York, which made her just as all the more sweet. I'm Lynn, I advanced my hand. Jackie. Blatantly looking her over, embracing her smile. You new here or something? I never seen you around, I asked. I just transferred here this semester. I actually saw you walking in the union earlier. You're beautiful, I injected again against my will. It was game, but she was a cutie. Her package had sexy stamped on the front, and she was ready to go. She attempted to conceal her brightening face this time around. Thank you. For the sake of not getting caught in some corny situation or uncomfortable silence, I politely asked for her phone number. Jackie explained to me that she didn't know her phone extension yet, and she took mine instead. I see you trying to live it up, huh? Rashid asked. What you mean by that? You hollering at shorties in the hallway now? You was about to get married a hot second ago, Rob reminded me. He released a slight chuckle before continuing. My boy living it up. My goal was to meet someone who was just enough out of my reach that I couldn't wheel her in. Perhaps someone who scored higher on her SATs but was poorer than me as a kid. Or a rich girl who could beat me in a game of chess. Or any dope combination of balance and beauty. What I found was a big booty bitch from Buffalo who compared the substance of the Holy Quran to a fictional novel. And another pretty face from Rochester who wanted to kiss and smoke all the damn time. And so on. It was what it was. Nonetheless, I wasn't sitting around having regrets about Angela. The only time that I spoke to her this semester was one night when she called and I had company, and she ended up hanging up the phone feeling extremely disrespected. When I got back to my room later that night, the flashing message on the answer machine indicated that I reeled in another one. Hi, this is Jackie, the girl you met in the hallway today. I was calling to see what you was doing later. I got some movies up here and no one is with me. Give me a call when you get this. My extension is 94221. Later. 2 hours later. This is my side of the room over here, Jackie told me. She had a Bob Marley poster and pictures from back home above her bed, a small refrigerator next to her computer stand, several emblems of Tweety birds, and an organized closet. I sat on the edge of her bed, opposite the pillows. She walked over to her computer mounted on a desk near the window. Maybe it was my 19-year-old mind playing tricks on me. But when Jackie bent over the back of her chair to maximize the media player to full screen, her body was screaming, look at me. 145 pounds of curves, a sense of style indicative by a Louis Vuitton scarf covering her head. And there was something about her that told me she wasn't this nice to everybody. She had a pair of thin, toned arms, medium build, and an ass that she strutted as she knew you would be looking. She backed away from the computer monitor quicker than I anticipated. Don't be looking at my booty like that, she said. Oh, my bad. Jackie crawled into bed and rested a pillow against the side of my leg
and buried her head in it. Oh, I'm going to get these drawers, I thought. In the Holy Quran, God reminds man that he is unaware of what land he is to die. With this, our Father is sort of challenging us to do our very best at all times. This may be your only or your last shot. I often wonder if I had known that Jackie was going to conceive, birth, and rear my firstborn child, would I have done anything different? We started fast. We took a fast break. Then we quickly switched courses. I liked Jackie, and that fact filled my heart with guilt. I didn't know her, and I resented her for not knowing me. We knew each other's bodies, though, in and out, up and down, and that uncommitted sex was our new course. I went back to NYC for spring break. I was supposed to be using my free time to study and get caught up on my classes. I ended up spending my free time sleeping and hanging out with Mo. I got too comfortable with my initial academic success and began studying less and less. I got laid off from my ideal work-study job because the position was so easy that I stopped showing up. I began exploring the social benefits of being young, Black, and independent as a college student. At the top of the perks, girls, girls, girls. Chapter 22. When I got back to school, I tried to repair some of the damage that I made in my academic semester. I was on the verge of failing all 5 classes that I registered for. One of my lady friends was an upperclassman who wasn't registered for any classes earlier than 2:30 in the afternoon. Every night for 3 nights straight, I fronted like I could hang out with an equal all night and get up for my morning class and take care of business. Consequently, I hadn't been to the main academic campus for the entire month of February. Campus had become a venue for party and bullshit. Russell and I had got to the point where we had girls on every floor of Goodyear Hall and started making scheduled rounds to see them. College life was more than I could ever prepare for. I just needed to live it. I had been on both sides of the spectrum, the star of class and group discussions, and the anonymous student who would eat his lunch at the back of the lecture halls. The end of my freshman year was fast approaching, and I had completely squandered my second semester. Now I was trying to do just enough to get incompletes in my courses and an opportunity to finish them over the summer. 60-degree weather and the longer days of spring transformed the campus into a social metropolis. Water balloon fights, step shows, and barbecues lighten up the campus from its snow-drenched winter days. For the past 10 months, we pushed and molded ourselves into what we become more prominently than any other time. The guys put on a few pounds and achieved slight independence, mostly via refund checks and free meals. The girls grew into young ladies, and a special few, women. Some of the girls could cook their asses off and were willing to share, providing that you provided the right company. OD tore up the UB annual Spring Fest with his lyrical gift. Anima had silky braids and a stocky physique that the chicks were feeling. Rashid had white diamonds in his jewelry and some of the best weed on campus. And Russell was on some deep voice, fake-ass Morris Chestnut shit. Between all the guys that I rode with, we apparently had enough flavor to open doors wherever we went. So we went.
This is your absolute final warning. Any more nonsense out of either of you guys, and you'll be excused from the residence hall indefinitely. I mean, come on, guys. You came here to go to school, and you're on a first-name basis with each of my officers here. I know your parents didn't send you here for that. Russell fired back in his baritone voice. My moms ain't send me here. I got to this bitch by myself, homeboy. Go ahead with all that. All right, Russ. Just get your things and go, please, Mr. K demanded, knowing that going back and forth with Russ was a loss. We got into a brawl in the dining hall because Russ wanted to spit in some dude's face. It was fun until the university police and Res Life administrators showed up. We were already on our final warning with Res Life because apparently someone was robbing student drug dealers and smoking weed in our rooms and acting like they was us. For about 50 paces, the warnings and threats by the university police was starting to put a damper on my day until Russ and I got into my front door.
Why y'all so stupid? Jackie asked, smiling. Jackie, what's good, baby? Why y'all so stupid? She insisted. Russell's girlfriend, Stacy, chimed in. Don't you guys know this is college? They went on giving us an earful about the trouble we had been getting ourselves into. It was a cute little boyfriend-girlfriend ordeal. Russ and Stacy were an item. By that time, Jackie and I had created something like a friendship, and we were constantly getting caught creeping around campus together. So if she wasn't my girl, the world sure as hell couldn't tell. Chapter 23. I was awakened by a smooth, easily familiar reggae melody. I indulged in the rhythm before opening my eyes, as I knew I had a rough day ahead of me. From the very first time I placed my eyes on you, girl, my heart said follow true. Jackie and I had been up all night indulging in costly makeup sex. I spent more time than I had trying to convince her to stay on my team, and then just to let me put the head in. We hadn't gone to sleep till the sun was completely out, welcoming a new day. I had a final exam and intro to computers and stats a few hours ago. But after a night of squandering exam cramming time, I figured I could either sleep on my answer key or sleep on Jackie's warm bed. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. Although I automatically failed my course when I chose to doze off at 6:45 this morning, Bob Marley lightened the mood. Robert Nesta Marley, I said aloud before opening my eyes. Jackie was sitting at a study desk, flipping through a Elle magazine. What you know about that? She asked. You crazy? That's my song, I said. I laid in comfort for a few more moments and tried to figure out what God wanted me to hear. Once I got it, I asked Jackie if she wanted to take a walk with me to the Boulevard Mall and told her that I'd treat her to a pair of sneakers. We got up, made love in the shower, then got dressed and took the hour-long walk up Niagara Falls Boulevard to the mall. During the walk, I discovered that Jackie and I could share silent moments comfortably. And like me, she appreciated the same intangible elements of a warm spring day. We also discovered that we were both staying in Buffalo for the summer. Jackie was only staying for the first of 3 summer sessions. She was going to be taking a class and working as a bartender at a local nightclub. I would remain in Buffalo for the entire summer, as I had 2 months of classes to make up. I was taking Sociology 101 for the first session, and if I was lucky, I would be finishing a bunch of incomplete grades from this semester, and opposed to just failing. Currently employed as a student assistant, I would continue there until my teacher's assistant job began. The TA position provided a free room. Jackie agreed to let me stay with her until my room was available, since her roommate left for the summer. I had a job lined up as an equipment room manager at the UB football stadium, which also provided a room and board. The zero cost of living will allow me to put my paycheck straight into the bank so I could buy a car at the end of the summer. Jackie and I stood in front of Goodyear Hall and saw our friends off as the last of the student association buses pulled off and out of seeing distance, back to the Big Apple. Within minutes, the resident halls were barren. We had half of one of the largest campuses in the state to ourselves, just me and Jackie. She looked at me and shrugged her shoulders. You want to go upstairs and listen to some music and play Ludi? Jackie, I don't know why you keep trying to play me in Ludi. I'm going to get to heaven first, pumpkin. Whatever, Lenny. I beat you the last 3 times we played. When I called the university's automated system to get my grades the next day, my heart skipped a beat with each readout. MGQ 201, F. Psych 224, incomplete. UGC 111, C. Nutrition 108, D. PD 111, incomplete. Chapter 24. Being wifed up and having access to the gym was exactly what I needed to get back on track for school. Every day after work, I came in and had childlike fun with Jackie for a few minutes before getting ready to go to Clark Hall, the South Campus gym. Weightlifting gave me a legal outlet to be a real man. I didn't have to ask anyone for anything. I could just clear my space and wrestle with gravity. I noticed that it was hard for me to push myself to failure in the gym for over 2 hours every day, then go home and not kick ass in my respective aspects of life. I studied wherever there was silence and made the most out of each of my daily hours. At night, I was with Jackie until around 11 o'clock, which is the time she left out for work. She didn't get home till around 3 a.m. And most nights, I'd either be consciously or subconsciously waiting for her key to hit the door. Happy birthday, Lenny. Happy birthday, Lenny. Jackie knew that I had a soft spot in my soul for women who could sing, which she was good at, but she also knew that I had a knack for overlooking her talent. Therefore, she wasn't displaying her full vocal ability. Happy birthday to you, she concluded. She bought me a Kevin Garnett jersey and a chocolate cake. She also went the extra mile in the bedroom, employing a reverse cowgirl position and putting me fast asleep. She buried her head in my chest as an unusually cool breeze circulated through the dorms, completed one of my more quiet, better birthdays. We were woken the next day by a knock at the door. We slept in the closest proximity than we ever had, yet our plans for the day would separate us for months. Who is it? That's Janelle. She came to bring me something, Jackie said. I looked down at my cell phone by the side of the bed and saw that I had 2 missed calls. Oh shit, I'm late. As she reached the door, Jackie asked, "Where you going?" "To the Galleria Mall," I answered. "Hey, Jackie," Janelle said as she came in. "Why you ain't tell me you was going to the mall? Who you going with?" "My homegirl Jessica," I answered. Jessica is one of the girls I kept around when me and Jackie was up and down. She was taking me to the Galleria Mall to treat me to a birthday lunch. It wasn't until I was explaining it out loud to Jackie that I realized it wasn't such a good idea. "Oh, really?" Jackie pressed on. "You guys are a real mess, you know that?" "Here's the hot comb you asked for," Janelle said. Jackie hadn't taken her eyes off me. "What?" I asked innocently. "You okay?" Janelle asked. "No, he's fucking some other chick, that's all. I know it," Jackie said. I was gathering my things to go to the bathroom. Picking up on the sincerity in Jackie's voice, I figured I'd stop for a second and hear her out. "I ain't fucking nobody else, pumpkin. She said she's going to take me to get some lunch and walk around the mall. That's it." Jackie was scampering around the room collecting her hair products and articles of clothing. "Whatever, Lenny." "Where y'all going?" I asked Janelle as Jackie seemed to have worked herself up. "I'm going to work. I just came here to bring her hot comb," Janelle answered, looking like she'd rather not be caught up in the middle of our situation. "I'm going to the movies," Jackie declared. "Who you going to the movies with?" "I'm going to the movies with Pharrell, and don't act like you ain't know that." I laughed, in true amusement that I was thinking about canceling my innocent outing when Jackie was on her way to the movies with her manager from the nightclub. Pharrell gave Jackie rides to and from work every night. I hadn't quite figured out what Jackie was giving him in return. Although certain things did run past my mind, each night that Jackie left out in another man's car and came in smelling like a pound of weed. "Oh, word? That's your new boo now?" I asked facetiously. "Lenny, please. You know it's not like that. I've been asking you to go out with me for weeks, and you ain't want to take me. And I told you the other day I was going out this weekend." "Right," I said. Anyway, in an attempt to save as much money as possible, I wasn't about to squander $50 every time Jackie wanted to go out, especially since we had the UB movie channel and the vending machine right downstairs. More importantly, Jackie just put me in a spot that Tammy had taught me never to be in, a position where I didn't have a plan B. So I decided to turn my innocent outing with Jessica into a full-blown party out of spite. I made it back to the room just before Jackie was leaving out to work. We didn't exchange many words. I took my sneakers off and fell into the bed and smelling like cologne and perfume. The patterns of my hair were all distorted. When Jackie came back from work, I was in the same spot but a different sleeping position. She threw her keys on the nightstand. I could feel her standing over me. Lenny, this ain't gonna work. I think you should leave. Chapter 25. One of the pre-freshman girls from Brooklyn raised her hands and granted herself permission to speak. So, what would you say is the most important thing, like in college overall? As a teacher's assistant, I was looked at with a degree of reverence. Fresh off of completing my first year, I was still close enough to the pre-freshman students to offer them some applicable advice. Balance, time management, because if you allocate your 24 hours appropriately, you're not going to have to worry about overlooking anything, and you'll still have time for fun. I answered the question before me. By then, I had worked 2 different work-study jobs. I participated in the EOP orientation weekend. I even did some work as a telerecruiter for the university. More relevant, I turned out a 3.3 and a 1.9 semester and bounced back by taking care of my business during the first summer session. Therefore, I could seriously offer some advice on what works and point out certain things that wouldn't. For the remainder of the summer, I pushed myself hard in the gym, stayed in the books past my pre-designated study times. When I was alone at night, I contemplated on what Jackie was doing back in the city. I was living in the dorm room with the instructor who I was assisting as a TA, and a senior who was finishing an incomplete for his final credits. I also let Russell crash with me, saturating our triple room occupancy. I had enough good company and responsibility around me to keep my mind on excelling in life and opposed to sex. Later that day, looking around my crowded room. So what you be doing in here? Among the summer program students was one of my homegirls, Brandy, from elementary school. Brandy came to my room every now and then to escape the discomfort of being around so many new faces. I be in here getting it in, man. I gotta grade all y'all papers every night, and I be studying for my own classes. I answered Brandy before inviting her in. "Oh, Lynn, this is my friend Regina," she said as they both entered. "Nice to meet you," I greeted. Regina was short, light-skinned, and stacked. She had a white denim jacket on and was looking around like she was expecting somebody to jump out the closet. "Nice to meet you too," she said. "Are you about to go out?" Brandy asked me with consideration on her face. "Not out. I'm just going to get something to eat real quick. What y'all about to get into?" "Nothing. We bored. And Gina was going to ask you if she could use your computer." "Yeah, y'all can stay in here if y'all want. My roommate ain't going to be here," I offered freely. "Where you going to eat?" Regina interjected. I knew the girls weren't supposed to leave North Campus in accords with the rules of the summer program. After some protests, I told them that they could roll, but I promised myself to have them back before the curfew and not to flirt with Regina. We went to the Chinese food restaurant across from South Campus. I talked to Brandy and Regina about what they wanted to look out for their first weeks of school, the guys, and general distractions. After we ate, I took them on a walking tour of South Campus. I showed them the resident halls that they were going to be staying in when they arrived in the fall, and the medical and dental school buildings. The campus was completely empty and dark and humid outside. The Western New York creatures that evaded us city kids for our entire lives were creeping and crawling about. "Oh my God, what's that?" Regina asked, frightened. "That's a bunny, sweetie. That damn thing ain't thinking about you," I answered, laughing. "Oh no, they got bunnies in Buffalo?" Regina had a mature quality about herself, yet she was somewhat underdeveloped. The combination was cute. "Where you from?" I probed. "Coney Island." A Brooklyn girl," I said. "What you mean by that? Just 'cause the both of y'all from uptown, y'all ain't gonna try to play me." Brandy cut in. "Girl, would you relax? Ain't nobody trying to play you." "Oh, all right. Well, anyway, I was gonna ask you if I could use your computer when we got back." 2 hours later. I looked at Regina and chuckled at her inefficient use of the keyboard. "You don't know how to type?" I asked. "Yeah, I'm typing, ain't I? I know where most of the buttons and everything is." "You don't know the home row keys?" "The what?" Regina asked as she looked at me like a little woman. I stood over her and placed the left hand on the A, S, D, and F keys of the keyboard. She smiled and looked up at me. Why your hands so soft if you always in the gym? I hunched over her and took her other hand, gliding my hand below her wrist and guiding her fingers along the J, K, L, and semicolon keys as I nodded towards my weightlifting gloves next to the computer monitor. I use protection, I said. Oh, my bad. My roommate Jermaine walked in the room and assumed that he was busting in on something. Don't worry about it. We chilling, I assured him. You know what? Our curfew is coming up anyway. You want to walk me to my room? We took the long route to the dorms where she was staying, walking alongside the campus lake and vacant residence halls. When we got back to her building, we sat in the staircase and talked for a few minutes. We concluded that night by setting up an appointment for her to use my computer tomorrow and a light kiss on the lips. Over the next few weeks, Regina continued to come by for typing lessons and kisses. I figured that if she held out on giving me some until she returned for the regular school year, I'd take her seriously. That same day, I conjured up that theory. She unbuttoned her bra while I was giving her a massage, and I definitely saw that through. Chapter 26. I got an A in sociology and a hard-earned B- in social psychology. I finished my incomplete in World Civ. I bought a 94 Nissan Sentra, a widescreen television, and I got my new single room carpeted. I was as excited to the max at the fact that for the first time in my life, I was going to have my own space. Son, Regina coming tonight. I got this chick from Buffalo coming through right now, and Jessica called me. It's about to get popping this year. It was the first weekend of classes. I was in Russell's room, which was in the dorms across from mine. I walked over to see how he situated his room and to play football on his PlayStation. Russell was standing on his bed, securing a Jimi Hendrix poster to the wall. What's up with Jackie, he asked. I haven't spoken to her. I don't think she came in yet. I was still thinking about Jackie, and those close to me knew it. Russell and I used to hang out with Jackie and Janelle. We got together and enjoyed ourselves because we all had certain levels of compatibility. Russell and Jackie were good company because they were friends that didn't mind when Jackie and I slid off for an hour or so. I do miss Jackie's sexy ass, though, I added. Russ suggested that I tell my lady friends about each other and be straight with them to avoid potentially complicated situations. Regina was the person that I needed to straighten things out with first. She was under the impression that we were an exclusive couple. I had sex with her quicker than I planned it, and she went back home for a month between the summer program and the start of the semester. I couldn't exactly call her mine. I planned on talking to Regina when she came over, but she had on these white jeans and she greeted me like she missed the hell out of me. One thing led to another. The white jeans ended up bundled in a wedge in between the bed and the wall, and she ended up being around for a week, a semester or so longer. What's up, Jackie? Chanel yelled from down the hall. A few of Jackie's friends stayed in the same residence hall as me, and she was over visiting them. Hey, girl, Jackie said as she brought Chanel in for a semi-hug. Hey, Lenny, she greeted with her eyes on me the whole time. By her tone and demeanor, I could tell that Jackie was willing to squash our beef. I was wearing a black rayon shirt and neutral silk colored pants, obviously on my way out. Where you going? She asked. Out. I let my cologne do a little bit of talking for me. What's going on, though? I missed you. I'm going to see Jillian. You look nice, she said. You don't look so bad yourself. I gave her my most provocative stare that I could produce, hoping that she would read my mind and follow me into my room. I heard you got a new girl now. I didn't respond, since she didn't ask a question, per se. Jackie knew she was my damn girl. You look good. I moved past the turbulence. Shut up. What room you stay in? She asked, now connecting with me on my level. I pointed to the door behind me on my left. 213. You trying to come check it out? Aight, but don't try nothing sleazy. The instant the door shut, I was all over her, squeezing the back of her jeans and sucking the side of her neck. Through her deep breathing, she released a soft stop, which propelled me. Pulling her closer, I grabbed more firmly and pressed my lips against hers, trying to get her to indulge. Lenny, you gotta stop. She pushed away and took a deep breath. I like the way you got it set up in here. All you gotta do is keep it clean. Right. I flopped onto my bed. Keep it clean. 6 hours later. Hello? Hey, you sleep? Yeah. It was the middle of the night, and Jackie was speaking in her softest tone and employing her breathing patterns to send messages to my body. Oh, because I was wondering if I could get a good night kiss, she said. I glanced over at Regina to see if she was awoke before realizing that she had to be. It was a little after 3 a.m. when the phone rang, and Regina was the kind of chick to pull her best sleeping act to gather some extra info if she could. Yeah, I can help you with that, I answered Jackie. I'll be there in a minute. I tapped Regina on the shoulder. She turned around, wiping her eyes. Yo, this nigga Russell drunk. Stacy and them need me to help get him up the stairs or something. All right, Regina said. All right, so I'll be right back. I crept through the South Campus into Clemens Hall. Jackie and Janelle were packing up as they were leaving to the city in a few hours for Labor Day. Let's go talk in the staircase, I said to Jackie, with the intentions of doing everything but talking. I followed as she strutted past me to the exit door, which was right next to her room. She leaned against the wall when I went in for my kiss. The memories of past episodes surfaced, which yielded deeper emotions. In the spirit of not getting out of my bed at 3 a.m. for a kiss, I grabbed at the crotch of her sweatpants in search of her familiar clit. When I found my mark, she stopped kissing me and began nibbling around my neck and ear. I pulled the sweatpants down, and we got straight into it right there in the staircase. No precautions, no second thoughts. I got back to my dorm room a little after 5 a.m. I washed myself off over the sink before I went into the room, but I knew Jackie's scent was all over me. He all right? Regina asked. What? Is Russell okay? She ascertained. Climbing into bed, drained from all the physical energy that I just expunged, and not in the mood to conjure up more bullshit. Yeah, that nigga all right, I said. Over the next couple of weeks, I did more pushing away from Regina, and for some reason, she tried to hold on until one day I walked in my room and saw her on my phone. I heard the phone ringing as I was approaching and tried to hurry up and answer it when I heard Gina do so from the other side of the door. Hello? Who is this? I took the phone from Regina. Hello? Els, I was just calling to say hello, but I guess I'll try you some overtime. Oh, chill, I said. I was caught between a rock and a hard place, as I couldn't talk with Tammy the way I wanted to while Regina was there. I kept the phone in my ear and remained silent as I watched Regina pack her things to leave. It made more sense for me to let her go and speak with her after conversing with Tammy, who I hadn't spoken to in over a year. The very moment that Regina shut the door behind her, Tammy disconnected. I tried to call her back, but the phone went straight to voicemail twice. Chapter 27. Leonard, this is Miss Adams. Give me a call when you get this message. It's very important. I searched through the caller ID, and I got to the number that Tammy's mother called from and entered it into the phone. I was watching the local news and a load in my backpack as the line was waiting to connect. I had no idea why Miss Adams would be calling me, which is why I returned the call as soon as the message on my answer machine finished playing. Hello, Miss Adams. This is Leonard. Leonard, she said as she sniffled and gathered her words. I just wanted to let you know that my baby is gone. Her pitch was withered. There was no strength in her words. What you mean she gone? I asked, trembling from within as I took a seat at my study desk. The winter storm out my window underlined the conversation. In a slew of ambivalence, she explained. Tammy passed this morning. They found her in her apartment. Miss Adams had completely broke down in the middle of her words. My baby is gone. What? What happened? I pled. We don't know yet. She was by herself. It looked like a heart attack. Chapter 28. Back home, word got out quickly that Tammy overdosed on whatever pill she was taking. I was devastated, and I didn't feel like I had a place to turn to. I was in a place with people who had no connections to my pain or Tammy. I was alone. Females and my frivolous relationships with them had become my way of coping and hiding from reality. The nature of my relationships allowed me to only call after hours and only stop by for sex. Since most of the women that I had been dealing with weren't students, I can blame my actions on the demanding nature of a college and get away with it. Most nights, I could even get a bite to eat and my laundry done. Between the high-speed internet and even faster women, I developed a sexual addiction that had gotten completely out of control. I'm saying, I never had a tongue ring before. Let me see how it feels. It feels good. I should go put it in the freezer first. That'll have you going crazy. Then I work it around your head. Fuck that freezer shit. I gotta go in like 13 minutes. Just come on. All right, take it out. I should not be here right now. I know Jackie and Gina. This is so bad. Whatever. All right, let's hurry up. What if the university police roll around? They not even working tonight. The police ain't working tonight? Yes, girl. Would you come here? You don't think we should go in the back seat? No, because if somebody come, we can't play it off. Lenny, how we gonna play it off if somebody come by your car and see me riding you like you know the way I'ma ride you? Just act like you looking for something in the glove department. Shut up and fuck me. Oh, girl, who you talking to? Come here. Jackie had the tightest bedroom skills and was the closest to me, but she was only trying to hear my bullshit about half the time. When we did connect, we fostered good times, usually carving the entire day out for one another despite the course. We had water fights, took cat naps, rode around in my little car. She would sit on my back while I was doing push-ups. When Jackie and I were on good terms, I was good. But each time we left each other's sight, it was like we were breaking up and starting from square one. Rightfully, she didn't trust that I wasn't sleeping around, and I didn't trust her either. Frequently, we let some minuscule argument escalate out of control just to get away from each other for the day, weekend, or week. Amidst the lies and carelessness, the most beautiful thing happened over the winter break of my sophomore year. Chapter 29. I went back home for the first time in over a year during the winter recess. I discovered that Kareem was a heavyweight on the drug scene in Maryland. He was trafficking back and forth from New York and loving his new occupation. Maurice was still into his music thing, scoring contracts as an independent producer with a few big names in the industry. Angela was still Angela, still going to spend time with her aunts and cousins on Saturdays, still staying out of the spotlight. She was hired as a resident advisor and excelled in her classes, completely sticking to the script. She did stop wearing her engagement ring, which after all of the ripped up pictures and chaos that became our relationship, was the final emblem from our glory days. I met Jackie's parents over the break, the same night she came out to Queens to meet my grandmother. Nana hadn't cooked, so Jackie and I decided to go to Kennedy Fried Chicken on Farmers Boulevard to get a late night snack. I didn't have much cash on me, so we had to share a 3-piece meal. I remember being hungry and looking down at the table at the last piece of chicken in a snack box and looking up at Jackie. Yo, Jackie, I really, really care about you. You know that? Jackie continued chewing her piece of chicken, staring at the television mounted on the living room wall. I love you too, Lenny, she confessed. It was a long, abstract process, but at some point, I realized that I did love Jackie. The love was covered and hidden by the filth that I made of my life, but it was there. That night, I became more familiar with love and its properties. When Angela got on one knee and asked me to marry her, she became my definition of love. But While I was watching Jacqueline eat the last piece of chicken, I witnessed her rewrite that definition. There was no fireworks per se, just undeniability and apprehensiveness. I love you too, Jackie. By the time I got back to school for the new semester, I had a new girlfriend. I actually wanted Jackie around and began to invite her in. She started spending more nights in my room since I lived alone. That sort of opened the doors for us to do as we please. We spent our nights on top of each other, play fighting, listening to music, and conversing. After nights of enjoying our own private parties, she would walk over to her room in the morning and begin her academic day. On weekends, Jackie and I went to brunch in the dining hall together. Then back to my room to chill and relax all day. She didn't go out to as many parties as she used to. The weekends that she used to spend at the club, she now spent with me in the basement of Brown Hall studying all night. We both had sort of disappeared off the scene. 3 weeks later, Badunkabut 1983, 3:12 a.m. Do you still have my pen? L from Harlem, 3:12 a.m. What pen? Badunkabut 1983, 3:13 a.m. That one I let you borrow the last time I was here. L from Harlem, 3:13 a.m. Sonia, I don't have that damn pen. That was a month ago. L from Harlem, 3:15 a.m. I got something else long and sharp you could write with though. L from Harlem, 3:16 a.m. LOL. Badunkabut, 3:16 a.m. I guess I could come get it. L from Harlem, 3:16 a.m. Yeah, you could come get it. Badunkabut, 3:16. I'm on my way. The internet, proximity, and my new reputation kept the girls around. The different things that they did kept my big head listening to my little head say, get 'em, despite common sense telling me that Jackie didn't deserve to be played left and right. But Brenda, Badunkadut, she liked to throw it back, make it clap. Jalissa's head game was retarded, and so on and so on. I went back to typing my research paper that I was working on when I heard the electronic door shutting from my speakers on a computer. I clicked the instant messenger toolbar on my desktop. Badunkabut signed off, 3:38 a.m. As soon as Brenda got undressed, I got a call from Jackie. I let the phone ring as I had been in many positions since 4:45, but none was appropriate to talk to Jackie. I went back to playing with Brenda when it dawned on me that Jackie was probably on her way back to campus from the Kappa party. Jillian, Jackie's friend, who lived on the same floor as me, went to the party as well. So it wouldn't take much for Jackie to be showing up knocking on my door at any minute. Yo, Brenda, we gotta stop. Why? The Trini cutie asked. I gotta go. I said, just throwing some shit out there. Right now? Yeah, get your things together. I rushed her. I walked her to the back door of my dorm when my cell phone went off again. Hello? I answered. Hey, I'm at the front door. Come let me in, Jackie said. I cut across the first floor corridor and pushed open the magnetically sealed door. Hey, Jack. What's up? You sleep? She asked. Nah, I was up studying. Oh, okay. As we approached the opening to the staircase, I turned to Jackie. Hey, why don't you wait in here for a second? I pointed towards the student lounge, where the mailboxes, vending machines, and large screen TV were. I want to clean up my room and get it ready for you. I knew the moments that the words left my mouth that I had got myself into trouble. And I knew that Jackie knew that I had something to hide. Yeah, all right, she said, extra Brooklyn. I walked over to the staircase as calm and collected as possible before sprinting up to my room, changing the sheets, spraying air freshener, and swinging my door back and forth in an attempt to air out the room. I quickly made my bed, then stood over it, fondling the hairs on my chin, trying to decide, do I completely make the bed, as I seldom have my bed made anyway, or do I leave it be and hope that Jackie didn't ask why I made her wait in the lounge to do a half-assed job cleaning the room? I glanced over the entire room. While I was still trying to massage the answer out of my mustache and beard, Jackie came through the front door. What's going on? I was thinking about rearranging the room. What you think about putting the bed over here? Lenny, you just finished having sex with some girl in here? What? No. You sure? Yeah, I'm sure, man. Would you cut that out? Or maybe I could put the nightstand this way and we'll have more space here. I said, waving my hands around like a punk bitch over the vacant space near my desk. Yeah, maybe, Jackie said, still investigating the scene sharply. I grabbed my blanket with the hope of making the bed would stop me from sweating. I shook the blanket out and flung it across the mattress. Lenny, she demanded, red and turning hotter. What's up, pumpkin? What's that? She asked. I looked down at my green carpet and to my dismay, a worn out prophylactic. The next thing I saw was Jackie's brown BCBG shoe as they advanced toward the front door. Chapter 30. I was hired as a resident advisor for the EOP summer program. It was a 5-week program that admits around 200 students who will be attending the university in the fall. After several interviews and warnings to stay away from their female students, the staff took a chance on me. I was given a job. EOP provided its RAs with free room and board for the duration of the program, as the job required round-the-clock supervision of the residents. As a resident advisor, I got the chance to connect with the numerous students, many on a personal level. UB's future architects, attorneys of law, and young professionals were all under my observant but non-telling eyes. I just tried to make sure nobody killed themselves and that they were in their rooms before curfew. At night, during downtimes, I leave my room door open and let students pop in and out. Since I was living on the North Campus for 5 weeks, I let 2 freshmen in need of a place to stay crash in my spot on the South Campus. I called the room to see if I had any messages on my answer machine, and Nash informed me that my Aunt Jennifer called several times and it was very important. So I'm already thinking it's some bullshit, because those are the only important calls that I ever got from back home. Due to my mother's lifestyle, I had been mentally preparing for the phone call that she was no longer among us since I was in the 3rd grade. And I always thought that when I got the call, that it'd probably come from my Aunt Jennifer, her sister. Jackie was in Buffalo for the summer. We had just come from getting some Jamaican food on Main Street when I decided to return my aunt's phone call. Now I know, the last time you read Jackie's name, she was leaving me because I was messing around. But Jackie was my girl. She wasn't going nowhere. God preserved me from arrogance, but that's just what it was. People knew to stay out of my shit. Many a dudes got many dances and many parties, but she always came home to me, son, for the love, fuck, or friendship of it. What's up, Aunt Jen? Hey, Leonard, she answered. Aunt Jennifer has a golden heart, and like gold, it's malleable and fragile, subject to whatever the humans around it make of it. My mom's has been out there for 2 decades, and each time she got arrested, each time she got beat up, every night that Aunt Jennifer goes without knowing where her sister is sleeping, fucks with her heart. Her voice, which reeked of pain, spoke to me. Leonard, your mother got ran over by a car last night. Still taken aback. Is she okay? I asked. She took a deep breath. She's in intensive care. Both her legs are shattered. Oh, boy. For as long as we had all been starring in the Leonard Smith, The Outlaw series, Aunt Jennifer never cried in my presence, but she couldn't hold it back. Is she conscious? I asked. Aunt Jennifer continued despite her emotions. No, they got her hooked up to all kinds of machines. She got the respirator tube in her mouth. Leonard, get on the next bus you can. After a moment of processing things, I buried my face in my hands and fell into the bed behind me. Jackie quickly sat down next to me and began rubbing my back. Sorry, baby. Is there anything I can do? 3.5 days later. I sat by my mother's bedside for 30 hours straight at St. Luke's Hospital. Jackie was in the city as her classes had ended for the summer. She stopped by the hospital a few times and was a big help since I didn't have my car. She gave my family members rides and help wherever she could. Time, energy, gas, patience, neither which come cheap in NYC. And Jackie extending hers to my family was greatly appreciated. She employed a sweet, subtle way of letting me know that everything she was doing was out of love, not lust. She wasn't under my spell anymore. Since nobody's here, we should get in one little round, I suggested. Jackie grabbed a bag and headed for the front door. No, that's okay, she said. What you mean, no? I asked, not sure if she understood what I was proposing. No. N-O. Because it ain't going to be no just one last little round. It's never going to stop, Jackie said, sure of herself. I was staying at my cousin Keisha's on Sheridan Avenue in the Bronx. Jackie drove me there to get some clothes, and then she was taking me to Moe's. Stop playing, I said, as I invaded her personal space in an attempt to spark the energy between us that had resurfaced so much before. No, she pushed me away, employing enough force to make sure I understood just what she meant. I swear I hate you. I love you too, but I gotta leave you alone. The Lord's place wasn't ready for my mom's just yet. Over the next couple of weeks, she got stronger, more defiant of the nursing staff. By wheelchair, they sent her crazy ass back to the streets from which she came. The next time I saw her was on Thanksgiving Day. She was in a crack house lying on the floor with both her heavily fractured legs barely beneath her. Her legs were so damaged and poorly kept that they seemed to have properties of decomposition. Open gases, vast patches of skin that were blackened and swole. Although she could barely walk, her circumstances kept her running the streets. I tried one last time to talk her away from it all. She calmly requested that I go ahead with all that shit. Chapter 32. So if you could have either one, which would it be? Russell, Bernard, and I were discussing life over beer and wings at Russell's new campus apartment. Although Bernard was a year younger than us, we were all pretty much midway done with our collegiate lives, and because of our lifestyles, we were somewhat apprehensive about our romantic futures. Damn, Stacy or Vanessa? Russell pondered before taking another sip. Yo, that's a hard-ass question. But Russell, with his slow, baritone delivery, deliberately monitored every word that he uttered, making his statement span out over several seconds. Not that it mattered. I was high, drunk, and staring at the ceiling, pondering on the lurking question for myself. Damn, who would I choose? I gotta go with Stacy, Russell concluded. A word, Bernard confirmed. Yeah, man, that girl means entirely too much to me at this point. It was the day before the start of the spring semester of our junior year. We were talking about the ones that mattered, and coincidentally, to each man, there were two women. What about you? Who you got, Els? I was staring at the exact same void, pondering the evidence. I was thinking about the promise I made with Angela to marry her and to have Dream Smith with her. I was thinking about my decision to come to Buffalo, sight unseen, in search of growth and exposure, the direction that I grew and the extent to which I was exposed. How Angela could never again whisper in my ear, "It's all yours, baby. Nobody has ever been in it but you." Jackie had become my Flip 49, a completely different perspective of love. Aggressive, not passive, slim and curvy, not thick and juicy, Brooklyn, not uptown. And the experiences that we nurtured, our bond came about 49% quicker. But Jackie would never trust me as a partner again. I made too many mistakes too many times, and I had used all my baby don't leave me lines on her already. Yo, Els, who you got? Angela or Jackie?
Chapter 33. I was at my work-study job sitting at the desk, filling out some paperwork when Jackie strolled in. Can we talk outside, she asked. She was wearing a brown leather coat and toting a bag that seemed to be weighing her entire right side down. I was happy to see her, although unsure why she'd be showing up at my job on the first day of the semester. Yeah, give me a sec, I said. We hadn't spoke over the entire winter break, and the last thing that I heard from her was, "Don't ever talk to me again," after I forgot her birthday about 2 months ago. We walked through the hallway to the staircase exit, just past the elevator in Norton Hall. I sat down on the top stairs, and Jackie stood in front of me, leaning against the guardrail. "I'm pregnant and I'm keeping it," she said. Boom. There it was. That's how it happened. That's how I found out that God was paying attention all these years. That's how I found out that my first live daughter would be a little Jackie. That's how I found out that Tammy made it to heaven. Boom. Let's do the damn thing then. I was working my way up on getting excited, instantly filled with fatherly intentions, thinking that Jackie should probably be sitting down, thinking about a family. But if we gonna do this, I want us to do this right, I said. What you mean? Jackie asked. Well, if we're gonna have a baby together, we should probably be together, I said. She repositioned the strap on her handbag, with cynicism written all over her frowning face, and said, Lenny, please, you can't keep your dick in your pants for 2 seconds. What would make you think I would want to have a family with you? Yeah, but what that got to do with this? I asked. Seemingly in discomfort, she stood erect and put her gloves on. Everything. But listen, I gotta go. Without a consensus as to whether the conversation was over, Jackie walked up the stairs, flexing her hard muscles and big dick and taking the baby home with her. Although Jackie had expressed that she wasn't interested in trying out another relationship, I played the role anyway, spending most of the little nights that remained of my first semester by her side in her apartment. I woke up before her class every morning to make her some of my ghetto oatmeal and stood helplessly while she was clinging to the toilet bowl in the middle of the night. She was a little over 11 weeks pregnant, and her body was putting her through hell. Morning sickness came like clockwork, her mood was subject to change, and she only wanted the specific things that she wanted. Jackie's 11:21, 9:17 p.m. I want Wendy's fries with a cheese cup. Jackie's 11:21, 9:17 p.m. Actually, get the fries from McDonald's, but don't forget to get the cheese cup from Wendy's. L from Harlem, 9:18 p.m. All right, I'm on my way now. Jackie's 11:21, 9:18 p.m. Don't forget the cheese cup. L from Harlem, 9:18 p.m. All right, I got you. I'm leaving D-Lo room now. Slamming a bottle of double springs on the counter and raising his voice above the others. Watch, this nigga ain't gonna have no sons, nothing but girls. Watch, D-Lo proclaimed, sure himself. I'm saying, whatever it is, I'm sure y'all gonna love him or her regardless. So I wish y'all the best, homie, OD said. Nah, fuck that. Lynn did entirely too many chicks dirty. According to the old adage in D-Lo, I was supposed to have a girl, and she was supposed to pay for my wrongdoings. Jackie thought it was a boy because her body was telling her so, and many people thought that I had lost my mind by wanting a child at 21 years old. All these different angles made me turn back to the Quran for guidance. I was lost and needed it anyway. When I got an understanding of my current positioning, I deleted about 2/3 of the people on my buddy list, cut off my cell phone, and I relaxed with the weed again. I started looking for full-time jobs off campus at $6.50 an hour, and 20 hours a week wasn't about to cut it. I was having a dream of a baby girl. Chapter 34. What you watching? Jackie asked as she approached me. Her stomach was just bearing witness to her second trimester. Law and order, I said plainly. I was relaxing, enjoying my whole homeostasis thing, and here comes Jackie's wobbly ass. What you watching? She didn't want me in the house, so I went home. She didn't want me home, so I slept on the couch. Now here I'm on the couch, and here comes Jackie. I think I saw this episode, she said, making room for herself on the couch. Things had been rocky between us, as we had severely different positions on pregnancy and parenthood. I wanted to put my hands on her so many times that I had developed this whole reasoning with myself out loud thing. But cooler heads always prevailed. At the end of the day, I was still appreciative of what she was going through, and we had the best intentions for our child in mind. Where's the remote? Jackie asked. Jack, what the fuck? I'm watching TV, pumpkin. Why don't you go back upstairs? What you want to come down here for? Shut up. She said it in a joking, dismissive sort of fashion, but it was more like shut up instead of shut up. That's the kind of reasoning that I wrestled with for the rest of the months, trying to figure out the reality of whether Jackie thought I was a punk bitch or not. So what's up, man? Why you been down here all day? She asked. I'm cooling out. I don't feel like talking right now, I said. It was hard for me to converse with Jackie on any sort of leisurely level, with so much hanging in the balance. I wanted to discuss where we were going to live next year, the baby's name, and health insurance. Why you acting like you don't want to be around me? Jackie asked pressingly. I just don't like how we're going about this whole family planning thing, but fuck it. I guess we got forever, I mocked. Whatever, Lenny.
Jackie, you're mad out of touch with your father, and my parents didn't plan on having us and losing touch with us. Shit just happens. You should plan for things. Lenny, please, just because everybody's parents ain't turn out to be crackheads like yours, don't mean we gotta sit up here stressing all the time.
I vehemently recalled Uncle E telling me, you can't choke him. And promptly, I lifted myself up off the couch and began getting ready to go home. When I got there, I signed on an instant messenger, and Jackie quickly messaged me. Jackie's 11:21, 10:37 p.m. I'm sorry, Lenny. I shouldn't have said that about your parents. I typed out several different responses before I clicked the send button. When I finally did, I told Jackie that it wasn't okay and threatened to take her life if she ever made that mistake again. We didn't speak again until the day after she delivered the baby. Chapter 35. So where exactly is Barbados? I asked. You don't know what Barbados is? I don't know why. It's only the best island in the Caribbean. I was at dinner in the dining hall with Karen, who I met through a former coworker at the EOP office. It wasn't until I saw Karen's 6-foot-tall Bayesian ass walk by that I realized that I had a type, and I went after it. Oh, really? How so? I asked. We have the most beautiful woman in the world. The country has a 97% literacy rate, and the UN ranked Barbados third in terms of quality of life among 160 developed nations worldwide. Damn, what you got, a Bayesian almanac in your bra? She filled with laughter, revealing her flawless teeth, stretching her full lips. No, silly, she said. What's in your bra then? Them things look heavy. You're fresh. Karen was a straight-A nursing student trapped in a supermodel's body. She was new to the school and warned many times over not to get involved with the likes of little old me. I had a baby on the way and an ill mindset. As usual, the free publicity that all the gossipers gave me worked. We had been talking for weeks on Instant Messenger, and she spent a few innocent nights in my room. We went for a springtime walk after dinner and got to know each other better. It was finals week. Another academic year was behind me. Although I took significant steps towards graduating, I didn't finish off the year as strongly as I could, as I was working full-time at Mortgages R Us, a local call center. I sacrificed my grades as it was more important for me to be getting paid with a child coming. So, what was it about me that made you come up to me? Karen asked. The way you carry yourself. I usually see you walking all tall and fast with your head up. That's attractive to me. That's kind of an oxymoron, she spat out from her analytical space. I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to, I assured her. We were walking by the School of Medicine's main building, which had been shading us from the heat of the sun for the past 50 or so paces. As we walked past the last low-rise, we were bombarded with the sun's rays once again, forcing Karen to slide out of her leather jacket. Yo, you still coming by tonight? I probed. By then, Karen knew the extent to which I was physically attracted to her. Therefore, my question following her coming out of her jacket wasn't completely out of context, but Karen liked to play hardball. She glanced down at her protruding chest. Lenny, why are you asking me that right now? Her eyes followed the same pattern as mine, allowing me to say it without saying it. No reason. The nights she spent in my room weren't all consecutive, all this week, and come to think of it, they weren't all that innocent either. Nevertheless, Karen was a good girl. She had her head on straight, and of all things, another virgin. But Karen was leaving for the city tomorrow for the summer, and she was a sweetie. Yeah, I'll come by, she said. Chapter 36. As with many things in life, there's a thin line between this and that. Love and hate, right and wrong, good and bad, truth and a lie. Even the two little girls on the inner cover of this book. By late May, I felt like Jackie was single-handedly trying to destroy my life. To say I had baby mama drama was a stretch. She sort of faded away quietly with the intent of moving back with her moms. The only issue I had with that plan was that she was taking my baby with her. One night towards the beginning of the summer, one of my roommates came home and informed me that his girlfriend's friend Janet asked me to give her a call, just out of the clear blue sky. He gave me the number and a little bit more info, and I made the call.
The phone call led to a visit. A visit led to another, and before I knew it, I had another special friend. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another girl, another friend. Why not take it easy when you got a baby coming? I had the same sentiments. It's God's plan, not mine. Janet was tall and fair-skinned. She brandished a don't fuck with me sort of attitude and smoked more weed than anybody I knew. She was in the process of growing out her hair as it was necessary for the sorority she was getting ready to pledge for. Although I was wishing Janet called me when she still had a perm, it was still plain to see that she was a cutie. I began to stop by Janet's apartment just about every night after I got off work. She had a laid-back, unintentional way of alleviating the drama that became my days. We developed a sort of friendship that would have been more appropriate 10 years earlier, or if I didn't have a child due in a few months, riding our bikes through Buffalo and its surrounding suburbs. I wasn't exactly sure what Jackie's plans were. I was hoping that through any of the words I expressed at any time, that she would understand that I didn't want to be away from my daughter for 1 second. But the words I actually put forth weren't in line with my heart's intent. If you ask me, it was my daughter embracing my many tears, my energy, my ardent desire, embracing my all when she came out of her mother on Friday the 13th, 2 days before Father's Day, and 2 months premature, but as healthy and as cute as she wanted to be. I laughed and I cried harder than ever before, rubbing my index finger across baby Williams's head full of wavy hair. Hearing her soft, kitten-like cry made everything worth it. The incubator and all of the machines that she was hooked up to were reminders that baby Williams still wasn't physically ready for the world. But the big smiles that she released at the strangest times and the strength that she put in a tugging at her feeding tube gave me parental assurance that my baby was just fine. On June 13th, 2003, God created space in the world for Ashley William Smith. Chapter 37. Y'all about to leave? When I arrived at the hospital the next day, I did so just in time to catch Jackie and her mother getting ready to leave Jackie's second floor room. Yeah, we leaving, she answered me. Jackie and I had a long talk in one of the maternity ward corridors the day before. The discussion was light but civil. She explained to me why I didn't get word that Ashley was born until almost a day later. She didn't have a phone number to reach me since I changed rooms in the middle of the semester. She also explained that the birth was quick and it didn't hurt as much as she thought, and she agreed to leave a visitor's pass waiting for me at the nurse's station today. Why y'all ain't leave the pass? I asked, heating up. I decided to give it to my mother instead, Jackie said. I exploded. Yo, what the fuck you talking about? Jackie's mother and another woman I never met before was in the room. Through my peripheral, I saw Mrs. Williams abruptly exit the room, and I knew when she returned she was probably going to do so with security. You are not going to do this now, a tall woman in a white blouse insisted. Yo, I don't even know you, so please relax, lady. See, this nigga's fucking crazy. You are not gonna do this here. Who the fuck gonna stop me? I demanded, ready for whatever. As soon as I asked the question, I saw Jackie's mother and her army who was gonna stop me unfold before my eyes. 3 security guards, nurses, and Mrs. Williams entered the room. Sir, you have to go. Chapter 38. I woke up early the next morning to go to family court before work. My goal was to get adjudicated as Ashley's father, then file for joint custody. When I got to the courthouse, I became a participant in a metal detector medley that the cops were officiating in the lobby. I was also misdirected several times by people who assumed that I was responding to a child support petition. My sense of support and fairness in the process were quickly dismantled. The lady at the window made me fill out a bunch of paperwork. She explained to me that they were backed up on processing and I should hear something in about 6 weeks. On my bullshit, I asked what she thought would happen if I grabbed my gun and took matters into my own hand in the meantime. She casually advised me against that. I went straight to Mortgages or Us after court. When I got to my desk, I checked my email and saw that I had a message from Jackie. First of all, I want to apologize. I had no right to try to keep you away from your daughter, and for that, I'm sorry. I spoke with the nursing staff, and they said that you can go up there anytime you like.
You just have to show a form of ID. Lenny, I'm very sorry, but I need to tell you that the reason that I've been hesitant with things was because I had sex with someone else around the time that I got pregnant, and I'm not sure if the baby is yours. Chapter 39. She's asleep right now, but she's doing just fine. She's starting to feed more now, and she's just the strongest little thing. After reading Jackie's email, I clocked out from work and called my man Mo's mom from the parking lot. Miss Marie is good at seeking out the deeper meaning in life's occurrences, dreams, etc. Plus, I needed a loving voice. I was defeated. I tried to wave my little white flag of submission several times to Jackie and the world. Like, take it easy. I was just dogging over a couple of women. It used to be a lot worse. But I continue getting my ass kicked anyway. She's just precious, and as soon as I'm done changing her, I'll let you hold her. A couple of women that I never heard before did some small things to stop the bleeding. Miss Marie got me to calm down and encouraged me to continue to go see the baby every day until I had physical proof that she wasn't mine. And the new nurse on the night staff, who probably didn't hear that I was the guy from yesterday who cursed out her coworkers and broke the front door, was going to let me hold my gorgeous, light-skinned bundle of dreams that my teary eyes were looking down upon. At that moment, the problems disappeared, and for the first time, I understood what true happiness was. I spent most of my summer nights by my daughter's side. I started confiding in her and reading my legal studies and urban planning materials aloud in the wee hours of the morning. She was my smallest, most precious possession, trumping everything before her. I tried to constantly remind myself that Ashley and Jackie would be leaving back to Brooklyn as soon as her health permitted, and thus, I couldn't let myself fall too far in love, as it was difficult knowing that I was about to love and lose again. The money that I was making at Mortgages R Us was barely enough to get by. Between the bills and food and what I could send Jackie every month, I was just another broke-ass college student. So traveling to and from the city frequently was financially unfeasible. Between school and work, I would be hard-pressed to find the time even if I had the money. Cameron was gone. Janet was online for sorority. Ashley and Jackie eventually left Buffalo. It was a rough summer. Chapter 40. It took close to 3 months to get seated in front of a judge. When my court date finally arrived, it was short-lived. Since Jackie wasn't certain that I was the father, the judge ordered a paternity test to be performed, rescheduled the custody hearing, then I had to get out of his courtroom. I got the results of the DNA test a few days before Christmas and discovered that it was 99.99% probable that I was Ashley's father. I could probably sneak my way in with a 2.8, 2.9, but I'll definitely get accepted with a 3.2. I regained my stability and edge in school as I had began to look at it differently. School and the network that it provided was going to increase my value as a man and dad. I was officially accepted into the urban planning department, and I had completed all of my general education requirements with the exception of Spanish 2. After a perfect 4.0 semester, followed by a 19 credit semester with a 3.6 and a promotion at my job, I was feeling like a good father. It wasn't like changing diapers or breastfeeding was an option for me if I wanted to. So I was doing the best I could from where I was. That's what's up though, my guy. I remember you was talking about being a cop and shit when you and Angela was gonna get your own place. Now you looking at grad school. That's what's up. Yeah, I forgot about that cop shit, I said. Through the receiver, I could hear Rashid chewing his food. Yeah, so now you're gonna have that degree and you don't have to do no dumb shit. When Angela and I got engaged, I began to see more options for myself as a father and husband than a soldier in someone's army, drugs, or Job Corps. One of the more tangible means of keeping a roof over my head, providing for my wife, and keeping my daughter in the newest sneakers would be to become a police officer. I'd still be a soldier in someone's army, but at least I'd get to go home at the end of the night and ride around NYC with a gun and a paycheck. The benefits were better than any other occupation that I could qualify for at such a young age. All it took was a small sacrifice of my friends thinking I had switched sides and 2 years of college experience, which Rashid just reminded me that I now had. I stuck by my decision to finish out my bachelor's degree at UB
and consequently, I had only seen Ashley a few times since they left Buffalo in August. I called every day, sent money out of my paycheck every couple of weeks, and bought her the newest sneakers. Before I knew it, she was turning 1. Jackie was bringing her to Buffalo so she could spend her first birthday with her dad. I was excited and had been cleaning up the house all day and making runs to and from campus to do laundry. I had finally sat down to rest when Jackie called me from the airport and informed me that her and my baby missed their flight and wouldn't be able to fly in until tomorrow. I took off Monday and Tuesday from work so I could have a 4-day weekend with them, to spend more time with them. I've been running around all day and shit. Son, all this bitch had to do was get on the fucking plane. Russ listened to me, then sat down for a moment. Damn, so when they coming now? He asked. Yo, Russ, I was so upset, I just told her to stay home, yo. We'll try again some other time. You sure that's what you want to do, bro? Russell, I can't do this shit no more. This bitch got the baby, she make all the rules. I'm not doing this shit, son. I can explain to my daughter when she gets older, and hopefully I have some money for her when I do, but that's all I got right now. My man, that little girl ain't do nothing to you. You owe it to her to at least try to work your way through this with Jackie, especially if she giving you something to work with right now. I knew he was right, and I knew I didn't have it in me to quit even if I wanted to. I was just upset. Russell and I were standing on the roof of my house I was renting. I went out there to let off a couple of rounds in the air after I got off the phone with Jackie. I still didn't take Russ's advice. I went in and laid in my bed, slumbering in regrets and beefing with God for dealing me the hand that he dealt me. 23 hours later, Jackie came up despite what I said on the phone. She and the baby were in town for half a day before she called me. What she needs is a father in her life, so stop fucking around. We were standing in front of her friend Jennifer's house in Camelot Court, not too far from UB South Campus. Jackie may as well have been saying, it's not everyone else, kid. Not everyone else is fucking up. I could have responded to Jackie. I wanted to. I did have a point as well. My father probably had a point, and his father also. But at that particular time, Jackie's point was the sharpest, and it stung. Sitting there, looking her in the eyes as she jabbed into my ego, my intentions and actions weren't connecting with my dream. Over the yelling and bad energy, Ashley became uncomfortable in my arms and began to cry and reach for her mother. Chapter 41. Over the next few months, my relationship with my daughter got stronger. Jackie and I became more understanding of each other, and I continued to grow otherwise. I was 21 credits away from graduating, and I signed up to knock them all out in one semester. It's a sacrifice that we all make at some point. We risk our health, peace of mind, and other intangibles for the sake of completing something we started. Graduating requires sleeping in the strangest places on campus, countless no-bullshit study sessions, and obtaining a comprehensive and intricate understanding of your particular field of study. It took over $25,000 in student loans and an extra year, but graduation was here. I was and remain deeply grateful to Lonnie, my academic advisor, Dr. Coles, and Chris from EOP, who always found the exact resource or could squeeze the exact dollar amount from some glitch in the system that allowed me to finance my degree. Of course, my grandparents, aunts, both paternal and maternal, my whole village invested in this, and we did it. My cousins Ashley and Jasmine, Keisha, Gio, Mark, Aunt Renee, Nana, even my pops came up for the award ceremonies, commencement, etc. I quit Mortgages of Us a few months prior, as I needed all the time I could conjure up to complete my final projects. Quitting my job wasn't an easy or good decision. Here I am, this young father with a college degree and broke with no real plan and no real place. But the word went forth. Chapter 42. Ashley's second birthday was a few weeks after my graduation. We threw her a party at Jackie's mom's in Brooklyn. The party was the same weekend as the police officer exam, which I was taking in the Bronx, so I rented a car and hit the road. Being real, what a real man was beginning to take on a new definition as I grew. Therefore, I was applying for whatever organization was paying the most dollars for my services, even if that organization was the NYPD. My baby was healthy, walking, talking, and finally got used to me. I bought her a small bike that she was enjoying pushing into the front gate more than riding. She was wearing a little pink hoodie, looking all grown. I spent as much time as I could with Ash every time that I made it to New York City. That weekend, the exam took most of my day, and before I knew it, I was back on the road to Buffalo, back to my life in reality. I was in a suit and tie for weeks. The New York State Senator told me and my fellow classmates at commencement that we were special and privileged to be in our positions. I had all the right qualifications and credentials, but I couldn't find a job to save my life. I was hired for my first job when I was 12 years old, Judith Lynn Nursing Home in the Bronx. I taught residents how to play chess and helped distribute lunch. I'd been working some job ever since then. I had a paper route. I used to make a mean carrot juice for $1, and of course, NYC Summer Youth. Now, all of the good jobs wanted me to already have good experience at good companies. All of the call centers and sales positions and collection agencies didn't want me to use them as a stepping stone. With my money drying up, I began to feel dead in the water. Then, Hurricane Katrina touched down in New Orleans. Seeing our people physically stranded, literally left for dead, it didn't take a bachelor's degree to see that our country, the system, the administration, whatever you want to call it, was saying, fuck you, Mr. Smith. What? Or maybe I just couldn't find a job. In either event, for the first time, I couldn't send Jackie money on a steady basis. I didn't know where my next meal was coming from, so I packed up my things and got the fuck out of Buffalo. Police fired over 70 shots, fam. They put another body in the bag and didn't say nothing about that on the news. When I got back home, the NYC that I had left was no more. There were Bloods and Crips everywhere, and the kids had taken over the blocks. My God, the cops even beat up your moms the other night. Them boys is bugging. What you mean they beat up my moms? What happened? I asked. Shit, you know Yvonne be yapping off at the mouth and all that. This officer had to be a new nigga. Ugly Leon paused to swallow the food in his mouth. We were sitting in the back of his uncle's tattoo parlor. Wasn't having it that night. He started bashing her face against the concrete and shit. She'd been walking around here with sunglasses, but you could see her face fucked up. I stayed mostly at my grandmother's house in Queens. We had finally patched up things between us. So did her and my grandfather, Johnny, who was back home. The city was an accelerated, filthy mess. My social base had changed as Kareem and most of my boys from the Bronx were locked up. Tammy was dead. And on the flip 49, most of my college friends were flourishing. I spent most of my days with Ashley, either that or hanging out with my grandfather. I spent most of my nights in the studio with Mo or in the back of the ink zone where Ugly Leon's uncle set up a laptop computer and personal space for me to start writing this book. I'm saying, son, I'm sorry to hear about your moms and the police bugging and all that shit, but the bottom line is, you was a hustler, Rico interjected, directing the conversation back to its original point. You locked in this game for life. You shouldn't have stopped flipping zips, college or no college. Then your ass wouldn't be sitting up here all stuck and shit. Stuck? He ain't no damn stuck, Charlie Black and Miles said as he emerged from the small safe in the back corner of the office. Rico got some coke behind him and developed a little swagger since I left off to college. His voice was louder and his movements more slick. I was about to make him prove to me that he could still fight when Charlie Black and Miles interjected from across the room. That nigga got a college degree. Companies may not be hopping on his dick right now, but that's something nobody could take from him. Boy, you still fucking up half the work we give you. Charlie had his runners in and out of the shop making money drop-offs all day and night. And here I was, stuck, in a state of writer's block. I sparked a conversation on what the guys thought about me joining the police force, and this is what became of it. Shit, college students though, boss. I would have been pitching them 20s of Dro and pills until my arms were sore, Rico said, glowing green with thoughts. Your ass would have been right here with the same ass story. Let that boy do what he gotta do. Y'all go ahead with all that shit.
Charlie Black and Miles said, clearing the room of everyone except for Leon and myself. Yo, Leonard, you probably need an outline or something, because you've been sitting here for the past 3 days scratching your head and shit. Come on, man. Get this shit done so we can start working on my shit. Charlie Black and Miles was from Alabama by way of Harlem. He moved to New York with his mother and younger brothers when he was 17. Charlie got into hustling uptown in the 80s with my uncle. He was itching to document a story on going from a shack in Alabama to a mansion in Long Island and several successful front businesses. Charlie felt like I was the perfect outlet. I probably just need to go outside, I said, rubbing my palms. Oh, you want to go hit the streets up now, huh? And play, he asked, sensing my thirst. Black, what the fuck? I'm looking like a clown right now. And the spot till this police academy shit start can change all that up for a couple of days or so, I said. Who you looking like a clown with? These little fools out here? Yesterday you just told me your baby mom's is happy what you doing. She ain't gonna have that same respect for you if your ass in jail. Believe me. This Leonard who? He said into an imaginary phone. Hell no, I don't accept the charges, operator. I'm doing my own thing. Take it from someone who's been down that route, boy. Just relax for a second and write. If I had the money, I would have went up the block and bought an ounce and nickeled it out myself. But I was broke as a joke. Again. All right, come on. I'm gonna start your shit today, I told Charlie. Let's start tomorrow, he said, grabbing his car keys off a hook on the wall. I gotta make a move real quick. He pulled a Metro card from his shirt pocket and gave me the $20 we negotiated as my per diem for the book. I cut the computer monitor off, grabbed my coat, and headed for my little family back in Brooklyn. Chapter 43. Daddy, can I have some ravioli? Oh, my baby wants some ravioli? Okay, I'm gonna go warm it up. I picked up Ashley and carried her down the stairs. I lowered her small body into the chair at the dining room table and turned on the television. Watch Dora for a second, baby. I'm gonna warm up your ravioli, okay? I walked into the kitchen and saw the dishes that Ashley and I had been accumulating since 8:30 in the morning. The emptied clothes hamper beside the kitchen table reminded me that I still had another load of laundry to fold, and I adjusted the flame over my baby's lunch. I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, Ashley sung along with the television. I became a house dad. Once I put my pride and ego aside, I realized that the experience would be what I made it, so I tried to make it work. I was in a position to be the most prolific influence in my daughter's life, and every day we broke new ground developing our bond. It got to the point where Jackie got jealous a few times when she came in from work and Ashley gave her a lackluster greeting. I found my very best friend, and she was certainly keeping Daddy busy. I began to stay over at Jackie's more frequently as I got more acquainted with the responsibilities of being a full-time dad. Ashley and I stayed up late together, watching DVDs and listening to music. We played airplane, brushed our teeth, and took long, slow walks around East New York together. You don't want to finish the porridge Mommy made for you, Ash? She shook her head and pouted her lips. No cornmeal. I knew she didn't want it, so I warmed it up for myself. Ashley wanted ravioli, candy, and peanut butter and jelly. And when the weather permitted, we'd walk up to Atlantic Avenue and get some nuggets from McDonald's together. I taught her how to do push-ups, the basic concepts behind mathematics, and read her verses from the book of Genesis. I tried to explain to her why SpongeBob and Dora really wasn't shit, but I don't think she quite felt me on that one. I tried to make sure the house was clean when Jackie got in. I figured if she was going to be bearing the brunt of the workplace, she could at least come home to a clean house. I did my best with what I had, although I usually ran out of gas following behind Ashley cleaning up the raft of her imagination. As for Jackie and I, we were seeing eye to eye. Although we weren't mutually exclusive, as she was still making time to speak to Damien, and I did the same with Janet, but we sure did look like a couple. Half of the time, we slept in the same bed. I gave her body massages upon request, and the chain of events were usually consistent whenever she tried walking around the house in her little get-ups. Now that I think about it, we even conceived another child, which Jackie decided to abort. Chapter 44. Yo, Els, I don't get this shit, man. This shit don't make sense. We on Monster, hot jobs. I sent out like 30 resumes to 30 different recruiters.
who probably ain't even gonna look at them shits, OD said in frustration. The best measuring stick for my job search grind was my man OD. I pounded enough payment in high school to know the minimum yields of that route, and it was 2006. Everybody wanted you to email your resume or fill out an electronic application anyway. OD and I spent hours on the internet each day, sending our information out with unusual lack of success. Y'all gonna be all right. Y'all just gotta stay focused and keep doing what y'all doing. Y'all bound to find something sooner or later, Jackie said from the driver's seat, one hand resting idly on the steering wheel. It's to the point where I don't even want to send my shit out no more. It seemed like a waste of time, I said. Nah, but we gotta get something. Something gotta give, O said. Yeah, just hang in there, Jackie said. Jackie and I were looking for something to do outside of the house. We drove up Linden Boulevard to see OD at his mom's. It was also OD's birthday, so we lit up a couple of blunts in the name of love. I hadn't smoked in a couple of months as I was getting ready for the police academy. Now my start date was getting pushed back another 6 months due to overlooked paperwork, so I had to blow off some steam. Son, I'm thinking about going down to Florida. I got some fam out there who may help me out with some moves, O said. That shit would be really, really whack if you gotta go all the way down to Florida for a regular ass job. But shit, I can't talk. I'm actually thinking about heading back to Buffalo, I said. After a few more laughs with OD, Jackie and I drove back across town, having fulfilled a Friday night in our new boring mommy and daddy lives in 2 hours. We had a long talk as co-parents and friends before we got out of her Pathfinder. I let her know exactly what my intentions was as a father. This time, I had some backup for my words, as I had been getting up early and staying up late, all in the name of fatherhood and very little else. I even stopped going by the ink zone and filled out job applications for McDonald's, just trying anything I could. Jackie and I followed up on our talk with the effort of rekindling what we once had physically, although Ashley being asleep a few feet away tamed our animal instinct. I stood over Ashley's long, sprawled out sleeping body and hoped that I was making the right decision. I knew that on paper, the job market in Buffalo was minuscule compared to that of New York City, but the connections that I had in the town and the availability of decent jobs that I would be able to start on Monday morning justified the ends. In NYC, if I was fortunate enough to land an interview, I was coming out of my pockets at least $4 to get to and from the job location. Buffalo, although the second largest city in New York State, was small enough that I could probably walk to an interview from either South or North Campus of UB or from home. Home would be Gary and Earl's place. I stayed with them pretty much all of my final semester in school. Gary and Earl were willing to extend themselves again. I figured I'd probably be with Janet most nights anyway. All the signs pointed towards leaving, especially since Janet got me an interview at her job, and she had a place of her own that she was willing to extend. Ashley swung her arms and head abruptly to the other side of the mattress. She slept just like me when I was little, wild. When I felt myself being overcome with emotions, I told myself to stop. I didn't want to leave because there had to be another way, another move on the board. I wiped my saturated eyes and inhaled deeply through my deflated chest. All right, how are we going to do this? Past my logic and through my personal limits, I decided that I was going to stay a little longer and try a little harder. I feel like we're a real family now, Jackie said, filled with love, as she watched me secure Ashley's scarf around her neck. I chuckled. I know, right? We're about to have Thanksgiving dinner together and shit. The three of us were finally clothed and ready to hit the road. We were going to jump on the Belt Parkway to Nana's, then Jackie's aunt's house in the Bronx. While I was playing pity pat with Ashley in the back seat, I realized that the best things in life are free, providing that one has enough gas money and food. We didn't stay at my grandmother's long, as she had plans, not knowing that we were coming by. When we got to Jackie's aunt Debbie's in the Bronx, Jackie's sisters and cousins were in the midst of a full-blown party. The teens were singing along to the videos on BET. The adults were drinking pina coladas, and Ashley was happy as she wasn't the only person in the apartment under 3 feet tall, as her cousin Gavin was there. Lenny, you trying to go outside with Omar and his friend? Jackie asked me in the middle of their festivities. Absolutely, I said, knowing Ganja was about to be sparked. Omar's Prana's husband, Gavin's father. Prana is Jackie's sister from the Bronx. Omar and his friend had chronic, and Lenny was lighting up. The chronic drew Omar and I together like we knew each other for many years. He was one of the funniest people I'd ever met. But I wasn't just sitting there laughing and being high and shit. I was paying attention as well. I was listening to a man who was one step ahead of me in the game of life and hearing him tell me that this family shit never gets easier. He was holding his wife and child down while I was waiting for my turn. There was something in his words that made me decide that it was time to go. As a man, I couldn't just sit around waiting. I had an opportunity, and I was going to get off my ass and take it. You all right in there, baby? I yelled in the bathroom. Yes, Ashley confirmed. Ashley was old enough that I could leave her alone for short periods of time without her causing too much structural damage to the home. 2 p.m. daily was bath time and grooming for little Miss Sting. Daddy, look, Ashley called urgently. I ran into the bathroom. What happened, baby? She extended her arms, spilling the water on the bathroom floor and along the basin, and her infant arms a rubber ducky, and in the other a Dora doll that I bought her for her birthday. She crashed them together, igniting her soul with a rejuvenating laughter. Psh, she said. You crazy, baby. Give me 1 second, though. I'm making your lunch. Okay, Daddy. Our tag team was seeing its last days as I was leaving back to Buffalo soon, and everything was set up for me. I was only half ready. I was looking at the calendar and hoping that God was just testing my heart, that he would hit that one miracle button and keep me home. But it wasn't time for make-believe. I had to keep moving in reality.